consistency equals change, equals confidence, equals a lot of C words. But it has to start with that commitment, add to it, consistency over time. Don't do it every day. Don't ever say, ever and always and ever. Because, we're going to be messy. So let's just give ourselves some grace and build on the small wins so we can have great wins. What do you think A stands for? It involves all of you. Attitude is a great thing to think about. No wrong words here, but this is a different A word that I am thinking of. It involves a friend. We call that friend when we are making a change.
Accountability.
An accountability partner. So will you guys be my accountability partner for just one moment? I promise I am never, ever eating chocolate cake again. And you walk in and you see me eating chocolate cake. What do you say?
Where's mine?
Can I have some? I like the where's mine, but I think Robin's more being honest on what we would actually say. She said, and I'm going to do it like dramatic, right? Like, I thought you weren't going to eat chocolate cake again. What are you doing? Right? We do it with the finger. And here's what I would say to Robin. Oh my gosh, you're right. I would take my fork and set it down. I would back away very slowly from the cake. I would quickly grab the rest of the cake, run it inside my closet. And here's why. Because Robin didn't do what I need Robin to do as an excellent accountability partner, but more as a human that we all are. See, what I need you to do when you see me doing what I said I'm not going to do, or not doing what I said I'm going to do, is I need you to ask 3 inquiring questions. Is everything okay? What's going on with you? She can then solve it as we are natural gen, I believe, rescuers. We want to rescue, we want to fix it, but I first want you to inquire, because if Robin would have asked me, what I would have said is, Robin, the school just called and my son got in another fight. Robin, I just got an $800 medical bill that I have no idea how I'm going to get paid because I just lost my job. And in that moment, only thing that I thought could give me just an ounce of joy was this chocolate cake. It's the only thing. Because when we have the privilege of being someone's accountability partner, we don't judge, we inquire. It is our nature to judge. But instead, ask 3 inquiring questions and then offer a solution. Like, next time you want chocolate cake and you had a day like that, I will join you. Or how about, why don't we bake some zucchini bread without the gluten, or whatever we gotta do. Or let's go for a walk or kickbox together, because stress is real. But so often we go quickly to, why are you doing that, or why are you not doing what you said you were gonna? And that doesn't help us. We already have enough shame on ourselves. We don't need more shame. But we do it, good intention. Please ask inquiring questions so you can find out. A good accountability partner believes in you on your good and your bad days. So whatever you decided to change, ask someone, can you support me in this? But ask someone that believes in you, that wants good for you, that is moving forward for you. An accountability partner is someone who believes in the best of you and the worst. And people that love you will still be the people that hurt you through the changes. People get uncomfortable when we change, because people like us to stay the same. Stay the same. How about N? What do you think it stands for? And this one does involve physical health and emotional health. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. Since I was 7 years old, I've been working many, many jobs, but one of my favorite was being a lunch lady, because I love kids and I love food. That is your clue. What do you think the N is? What is it? Nutrition. Nutrition. So which foods are bad?
Sugar.
Is it?
Yes.
Because does food have power, or do we have power?
We have power.
But where do we give the power to?
The food.
To food, a lot. I was at a conference once. There was a woman about 450, and she didn't talk. She was a mental health. She had some mental health stuff. She used her puppet to talk, and she said, I'm a bad, bad girl. Very bad, bad girl, Amy, bad girl. I said, I don't really believe people are bad or good. I think we make bad and good choices, but I don't think anybody is bad or good. And I said, tell me about it. Why are you bad? I eat a whole bag of cookies every day. Every day I eat a whole bag of cookies. I just love my cookies. And she's a puppet talking to me. And I said, that's okay. I said, but just for tonight, let's just leave one cookie in the bag. Because the cookie doesn't have power. She has power. She just didn't know she did. And slowly over time, she lost weight. She put the cookies back. She changed habits. A side effect is weight loss. She also started to change how she talked to and about herself, right? So I believe all food is good. I actually think we should all eat like this. Like this morning, I had, I don't know, some sort of mocha thing, string cheese, a kind bar, a yogurt parfait with fruit. I mean, like, I love breakfast. Like, I wake up, let's eat in the morning, and then slower as we get through the day. But no food is bad or good. So in my house, I raised my children And I had pop in the garage, pop in the laundry room, pop in the kitchen, pop in the family room. Does that seem like a good idea? Anybody want to encourage your kids? See, you guys are shaking your head no, but here's the reality. Those three weirdos, you know what they drink?
Water.
They drink water. I don't know what is wrong with them. I mean, I've tried to get them to drink pop. I love pop. I'm drinking a Pepsi right now. Like, I love Pepsi. I love Squirt. I don't do it all the time, but I love, my kids drink water. But their friends, whose parents taught them pop was bad, they came to my house. They say, Miss Annie, can I have pop? Put it down here, put it down here, put it in the backpack. Can I take 2 to go? Because they thought it had power. You see, I grew up with food having power. I could not wait to be rich, because when I was rich, I was going to buy Twinkies and Fruit Loops. Anybody else, like, those are what the rich kids get, you know? Because food had power to me. Because I had food scarcity. But people that have enough, they're not afraid. There's no fear. There's no power connected to food. I didn't have enough. So I connected it to power. It's taken me a lot of years to go, Annie, you can have chips and candy and ice cream in the house if you want, but you can also eat it or not eat it if you want. You can also have a small portion. You don't have to have as much as you can for fear it will never be there again. My kids are kind of weirdo health nuts. I don't even know whose kids they are, honestly. Like my son's like, the worst thing that happened in COVID is the gym closed. I'm like, oh my God, it was my relief. I didn't have any reason to go. I couldn't get in, you know. Worst day of his life, you know. And my daughter's like, every day, she's like, I'm trying these new vegetables. I'm like, texting me pictures. That's what we do as a family. The 5 of us text, what's for dinner? And we take a picture and we send it to each other. And if one responds, I'm winning. Same. Even if it's just a like. But when you decide that food doesn't have power, you have power, then you can choose to have it or not have it. There's no bad foods. When I was at lunch late, I would get the kids to eat carrots with their eyes closed because I wanted to show them kids are sweet. They'd be like, Miss Annie, carrots are sweet. But they didn't know that because they had only had them in ranch. I wanted to show people how to cook things different, how to embrace. You can have food or not have food. Chips will go stale in my house today. I'm grateful for that. It took me a lot of years. My husband's like, why are you so obsessed with food? They took away my Sam's Club membership. I didn't have my shopping, but I love food because I never had enough. So I was like, I just want to have a lot. My husband's like, who are you expecting? I don't know. What if I get hungry? What if there's a snowstorm? What if somebody comes over? I never want anyone to be hungry in my house, right? But that is a retraining of the brain. Food doesn't have power. I do. I can choose water or Pepsi. I am not bad or good based on my choice. I can have sugar or not have sugar. And yes, everything in moderation is ideal, but it's powerful when we shift in our head to say, I love chocolate, but chocolate doesn't have power over me. I can have a Dove Love every day because it's sweet and it's dark chocolate and it has a love note. It's just for me. So I say Dove Love keeps the doctor away, not an apple. Have an apple too, but nutrition, be kind. And now I love blueberries. I used to think they were so weird. I didn't like strawberries, tacos, or blueberries growing up. I don't know why. Like I was scared of them. I think we never bought them.
Those are my 3 favorite things.
See, and I didn't know though, because I never had that. I never had fresh fruits or vegetables. We made, my husband calls the food that I like to eat like mush because we had to expand food, right? So you
Potato.
right? So you get that. All right, so E. E is what?
Exercise.
Yes. And so the 1, 2, 3 is what do you do? And I love that you talked about kickboxing because for me, what did you do as a kid to play? You never went and worked out, you played. Was it hopscotch? Was it bike ride? What was it? And can you still do it today? But I love the kickboxing. I'm a power walker. Like I just love to walk. I cannot run to save my life, but I love to walk fast because it feels energizing. It feels stress relieving. We all have stress. How do we take it and release it? Right? So I like people to write down what are the 3 things you used to play and how can you invite that play back into your life rather than I have to go to the gym or I have to work out. Maybe or maybe not. What do you like to do? I did a dance class when I was 30 and the woman tricked me because I'm not a dancer and then she has us dancing to Raining Men and 1 week my daughter's at the same place with me. 1 week before the recital, they're like, guess what? We're gonna have you guys dance too. I'm like, oh no, fringe skirts. Oh no, not happening. And we're gonna have guys standing and you're gonna dance around. I'm like, what am I agreeing to? My husband was like, it'll be fun. Not that fun. So anyway, but there's a video of it and I did it. And I went every week and I got 2 girlfriends to do it with me. And by the end we were doing the splits in our 30s. And I am not like, no, but do what you love. Play. Move your body, enjoy, and that joy will multiply and come out and around you. All right, I know I'm going faster these, but we're only on 3. We'll see what we get to. Okay, S. S stands for a whole bunch of things. I'm going to give them to you. Sleep. Sleep. Fall asleep well, stay asleep well. Think of the child you know or love the most. And imagine the perfect way to put them to bed. Read them a positive story. Dim the lights. Play soft music. Rub their back. Say prayers. Say sweet dreams. Say, I'm thinking of you. Say calming, whatever. And then how you put them to bed. Implement at least 3 of those things for yourself. Take a warm bath, do some journaling, turn off the phone, don't watch the news. Put the positive stuff in not only so you can fall asleep well, so you can stay rested, because it makes all the difference in our body. About 60% of people do not sleep well. They either can't fall asleep, they can't stay asleep, they don't get enough sleep, they have too much in their brain. Journal, get it out of your brain, and go to bed. I love sleep, I can sleep very well. But I go to bed about 8:39 and I'm up at 4:35 every day. I don't set alarms, it's just my body probably. Sleep. Second one, stress. We've already talked about this a few times. So acknowledge and release is how I say stress. I can't take it away, but acknowledge and release. I'm financially stressed. I'm stressed in my relationship. I'm stressed. Acknowledge it. Talk it out, walk it out, journal it out, acknowledge and release. Can I change it? I love the serenity prayer, whether you have faith or not. Pray for the wisdom to know what you can change and what you can't. Pray for the courage to change the things you can, right? I don't even have it in my head right. Who can help me?
Strength.
Strength. So what? What's the strength? To accept the things, the wisdom to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There was a season, my oldest struggles with some addiction, and it was a season where it was like, I had to pray that prayer 50 times a day. Like, what can I change? What can't I? What can I change? What can't I? You know, like, I am going to love him. I'm not going to let it ruin my life. I'm not in trouble. So, sleep, stress, supplementation. I have heard of every supplement being a gym owner. There's 3 I like you to take. Number 1, a quality multivitamin. The way you know it's quality is it dissolves in water, dissolves in your body. Doesn't dissolve in water, does not dissolve in your body. Quality multivitamin. Second one, quality fish oil. Quality fish oil, you are not burping up fish taste all day. But the important thing about these 2 that a lot of people won't tell you, take them halfway through food. Take them halfway through breakfast, halfway through lunch, or halfway through dinner. They need food for best absorption and benefit to your body. So don't waste your money or your time if you're not going to take them the best way. So multivitamin, fish oil. The 3rd supplement that we all need to take is a probiotic. A probiotic is taken first thing in the morning on an empty stomach or 90 minutes after a meal. Do you know that probiotic gives you a PhD, and do you know what a PhD is? Poop happens daily. A lot of women, they say between 40 and 60% of women don't know that. I meet women that go 4 days. Guys are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, you do not know. Women's body is different. We digest different.
In this industry, it's Papa has to do it.
I was gonna say that.
I don't know that. But PhD every day, right? It also helps with bloating. It also helps with when you have a sensitive stomach. It also helps protect your immune system. A probiotic is very important. In fact, if you only, I would put them in order. Probiotic first, if you're only going to start one. Fish oil second, multivitamin third, based on your own nutrition, all right? So sleep, stress, supplementation, silence. I love for you to have a minimum of 3 to 5 minutes of complete silence. Ideally every day, but I say 2 to 3 days a week. 3 to 5 minutes, 2 to 3 days a week. No cell phone, no TV, no person. Lock yourself in the bathroom, lock yourself in your car, do whatever you have to do. Complete silence. Set your phone aside, your computer aside, and just be. We are on overdrive, overstim, over-distraction 24/7. I get so many messages from LinkedIn, Facebook, email, Twitter. I don't even know where people are talking to me, and I have to stop, take a break, because I get overwhelmed with them. But I know everybody does, so silence. Ideally 2 to 3 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week, all right, silence. Social media. I love social media. I hope you're all connecting on Facebook and LinkedIn and all of that, but there are 2 big problems with social media. I'm on LinkedIn every day, Facebook most days. The big problem is, number 1, many of you go on there to look at a friend's post, and 2.5 hours pass, and you're like, what am I doing? Set a timer if you're one of those people. 10 to 15 minutes max, 2 to 3 times a day max, okay? And comparison thief, right? I think my hair looks good. Then I go on social media. I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks so much better. Oh my gosh, I think I'm successful. Oh, she's so much better. He's so much better. Comparison is the thief of all joy. You can be having your best day. You start comparing yourself to another and judging yourself in a negative, not a positive way. It will steal your joy. So comparison. So social media, silence. Success, that's the last one. If you just pick even one of these letters, I'm going to be committed and consistent to my finances, to my health, to my mental, to not apologizing for my emotions. Just pick one and be successful, all right? All right.
Be flexible. Oh my gosh. Oh, my only on number 4. How much time do we have together? Oh, we gotta hang out. Let's just hang out here and order pizza.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, come on. All right, flexibility. So I get to do a lot of really cool things in my life. But one is I get invited into companies when they're going through a merger, and about third to half the people are going to lose their job. They call it a mandatory meeting. Nobody's that happy to see them. You know what I mean? But I do have the ability to do lighthearted things, and so I like to think about how can I make it fun. So one of my companies I got to work with got bought by another company, and they asked me to come in and do a 3-hour presentation on change and looking for the silver lining in the midst of the change. And so there were 600 employees. I had 300 the first day for 3 hours, and I had a big auditorium, and then I had my books outside, and I felt like it went good. Like people nodded and smiled and whatever, but there was a man in the second row in the second seat like this. And he was just pissed off the whole 3 hours. I'm thinking, just smile, don't look at me. So I try to look away from people being angry, but I was like, okay, whatever, I got this, I can do it. And I did my presentation, I got done, signed books, went back to my hotel room for the night, and just for a brief moment, I had at least that guy. Don't be there much. Everyone else in my went back in the next day, fired up, like, I can do this. I want to encourage people. It's hard to lose your job, but there's a whole big world out there, right? And there could be something even way better than you ever imagined waiting for you in the midst of a loss. And so I did my presentation, I look out to the audience, and there he is again, second row, second seat. And I'm like, dang it, you don't have to come back. Don't draw attention to angry people though, right? Like I'm like, hello, you don't have to, you did one, you're out, I was fine for you. You know? And then it wasn't the CEO, so I was like, who is this guy? Why is he so angry? And I finished my presentation, went out, and I'm signing books, I'm talking to people, I'm doing this whole thing, and I like had 3 books left, and I zip up my suitcase, I'm ready to leave. And I think I'm alone in the building, which as a woman traveling alone, I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I'm not a yeller. Like my daughter's like, could you just please be a normal mother and yell at me when I do something wrong, instead of a 2-hour motivational presentation on how to make better choices in my life. I'm like, nope, I don't believe in yelling. Oh, please. But I'm not a yeller. It's just not my personality. And I'm zipping up, and the door's open, and out of the room comes this man. Listen to me. I don't like what you said. I'm not happy with what you said, and I don't appreciate you. And I'm like startled because he's screaming. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I don't know. What do you think I said? And he said, well, you told us all to be happy about change, that change is so great, that we should feel so great about change. Well, I don't. And I said, okay, I'm really sorry, but first of all, that's not what I said. What I actually said is if you're open to change, even if it's hard, you can sometimes find something good in it. I don't care what you said. I don't like it. I hate change. You want to know something? I am very angry right now. My wife just died. She was the love of my life for 17 years. 2 weeks ago, she was diagnosed with cancer, and she just died 1 week ago. You want me to be happy about that? You want me to feel good? I didn't even know how to cook and clean. My grandson had to move in. He's 17 and teach me how to do that. You want me to be happy? I'm like, ooh. Deep breath, deep breath. I said, oh my gosh, I am so, so sorry for your loss. It's okay to be angry. It's appropriate to be sad because he went from yelling to crying. I am so very sorry for your loss. Grief provokes many emotions within all of us. He said, thank you. And then I had to ask myself a little question. Miss Annie, how risky are you feeling today? If you know me, I'm always feeling a little risky. So I said, excuse me, sir, what is your name again? Told me his name was Evan. I said, Evan, may I please tell you what I heard? He looked at me strange and said, I don't know what you mean, but go ahead. I said, well, see, I have the privilege of meeting tens of thousands of people all over the world. People, thousands of people looking high and low for the love of their life, and they never find them. But did you just tell me you were married for 17 years? Do you know how lucky you are to be married to the love of your life for 17 years? Yeah, that's true, he said. And I said, then unfortunately, I meet hundreds of people that love someone that's done. And they watch him suffer with cancer, heart disease, Lou Gehrig's, you name it, year after year after year in pain and suffering, and they can do nothing. And though you lost your wife, I'm so glad you barely watched her suffer. And third of all, if I ask any audience anywhere, all over Europe and America, what the number one thing is that brings them joy, what is it, ladies and gentlemen?
Kids.
No, nobody really cares about their kids. Hello, thank you very much.
I don't like grandkids.
Grandkids. I tell people like, what about your kids? I got rid of their pictures. I got grandkids now. You know what I mean? Like, who can just light up? But the grandkids are so dang busy, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
And did you just tell me your 17-year-old grandson moved in with you to teach you how to cook and clean? I'm not telling you not to be sad. I'm hoping that someday you look back on this time, Evan, and you recognize that there was silver linings in the midst of all the pain. And he was like, you know what else? Well, the ladies at work, they've been checking on me left and right, and they bring me treats, more treats than they've ever brought me. And my church friends, oh, my church friends, I got so many casseroles in the freezer, I don't even know what to do with them. I said, really? He said, oh, it's been amazing. And he went from a yelling to a crying to a smiling man. And I said, Evan, it is sad that you lost the love of your life. But look at all the beauty that came inside of it. And what happened when I started to reflect the light onto what his situation was, he started talking about the lights. Because do you know that what we look for, we will always find?
Yep.
Do you know that what we focus on, what we amplify, will always multiply? Right. What are you looking for? What are you seeing? Because it's there, right? Now, if the story ended there, it'd be pretty good, right? It's about health, it's about love, it's about relationships, and those dang grandkids, which I am too young to be a grandma, but I tell my kids someday. And they're like, Mother, kids are too much work and too much money. And my husband says, honey, you have corrupted our poor children. But the story doesn't end there, because a few years after I met that man, I was in California speaking in Long Beach, and I was doing this happy hour mass, and then they were like talking to me and trying to get me to tell them the secrets of my presentation the next morning at 7 a.m. And I said, only if you get me drunk tonight, ladies. I said, if I have 7 shots of tequila, I will tell you all the truths that are to know. So then I ran into these same ladies, and they said, how many shots have you had? I said, oh, I've only had 6. I'm not going to tell you guys. Went back to my little corner where I had my new friends, and they come over and slam down a shot glass. And I said, what's going on? They go, drink number 7, and we bet you'll tell us. I was like, ladies, I was just kidding. I've had no tequila. They said, so are we. That's water. Don't you hate it when people mess with you at your own story? You know, like, come on. So anyway, I'm walking back with these ladies. We're laughing, and this woman comes running up to me. She was like 6'4". And she says, are you Miss Annie? Are you Miss Annie? And I said, well, yes, I am Miss Annie. You're an angel. May I kiss you? I was like, whoa, have we met? Oh, no, we have never met. I'm like, okay. She tells her friend, get out of the camera. I'm going to kiss her. I'm like, oh, my gosh, okay. So she leans over to kiss me, and her friend snaps a picture. I'm like, I am so sorry. Do we know each other? She said, oh, no, you have never met me. But you met this man, Evan, 2 years ago. And I'm 64 years old. And I've been searching high and low for the love of my life my whole life. And today, he is my love. We are getting married. I'm engaged. He tells me about you and how you opened his mind and his heart to look differently at the pain that he was in. You see, you might not get to hear how the story ends. I mean, that was a surprise to me. And that woman that was 6'4", I later found out she was 5'6". But you know, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. But when we stay open, amazing things come. Even out of the most painful and the hardest and the darkest things in our life, beautiful things can come, including us. We can be the beautiful. We can be beautiful in someone else's life. Because everybody has a story, and we have a story behind the story, and a wound, and a pain. But what if we loved on each other? What if we believed in each other? What if we shine the light so even in the hard stuff, we could find the good stuff? You see, some people say to me, Annie, I don't like change. How many of you do like change? I love change. By the time I was 83. How old am I? By the time
You
I
look
was
good.
18 years old, I had moved 83 times.
Sheesh.
I love change. I was telling some ladies last night, and I know they think I was messing with them, but I wasn't really messing. No, I don't think it was you. I don't know where. I was with a group. I said, every 3 months I ask my husband, hey, honey, should we move? He says, no. I say, hey, should we get divorced? He says, no. I say, do you still like me? Oh, I like you. I said, are you sure? He said, oh, yeah, I really like you. I said, do I like you? Oh, you really like me. I said, okay, good. Because I like change. Because stability scares the crap out of me. But somehow he tricked me to marry him. He tricked me to stay with him. We've been together almost 30 years. Like, what in the, I don't even 30 years old. And I'm like, been with this guy. But he's like, his family's so stable. My family's like, but you know what I mean? Like, change isn't bad. Some of us don't like it, but actually that's not true. We all like change. You know what kind of change we like? The ones we're in control of, the ones we choose, and the ones that benefit us. Because if I offer you all a raise right now, you're going to like that change, aren't you? Right?
We like the change we feel. But the truth is, even the hard change, even the change that we want to resist, if we stay open, there's something so beautiful inside of it, right? So be flexible, stay open, look for the silver lining amidst the difficult, the challenging, and the painful changes. What is the silver lining? Where is it? The next one, be gentle. How many of you ever judge yourselves, right? Judge ourselves. I'm going to stand up here for a minute. I don't know why I feel like I'm just going to stand up here for a second, but we judge ourselves, right? Like, I got my GED, so I thought, oh, not good enough. You know, I didn't finish college, not good enough. I had a daughter, I had a couple of unplanned pregnancies, and I had a daughter I placed for adoption, not good enough. And I used to not tell people those stories. I never used to talk about Oprah. That was a very emotional, personal part of my story. But then my friends challenged me, like, why don't you share that part? Like, that's powerful, you know? I used to never talk about being a birth mom. Then all of a sudden, all these women start coming up to me, oh my gosh, I'm a birth mom. Oh my gosh, I'm adopted. Oh my gosh, I adopted. And they started sharing stories. I plan to write a book next year in 2022 about the 3 sides of adoption. The birth parent, the adoptive parent, and the birth child, right? Because there is 3 sides. Sometimes we only think about 2. There's a lot of silent, stifled, shamed single mom or birth moms out there. I wanted to shine a light on everything hard in our lives so we don't have to live in the shame anymore, right? And so being gentle is, what are you judging about yourself, right? What have you gone through that you're disappointed? I dropped out, I got divorced, I got fired, what is the thing? What if we start saying, you know what, I'm gonna be nice to me. And if the rest of the world likes me, it's okay. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna like it. Be gentle with yourself. How are we doing on time?
That one's over there. It's good.
Oh, good, because we're here all night. Oh, I love it. It's 5 o'clock. So we got a little time still, right?
Yeah, 20, 25 minutes. Next
Okay.
thing is 5.
Excellent, excellent. So be courageous. So this is the picture that my son doesn't care about pictures. He's 10 in that. That's Matthew with his head down. But that's Megan at 4 years old. And be courageous was one of the ways I looked back at my life and I thought all the ways I had to be courageous to survive how I grew up. But then being courageous changed for me in 99. My girlfriend called me in 1999 and she said to me, hey Annie, you're overweight, I'm overweight, thank you for calling. You know what I mean? When you guys call me, I'm going to hang up. And she said, and we're both done having kids, let's lose some weight together. I said, okay, fine. And she said, we're going to go for a bike ride. I'm like, sounds great. I hung up the phone. I told my husband, oh my gosh, I'm going to go for a bike ride. I'm going to lose weight. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I go, we're going to go for a bike ride. And he goes, you don't own a bike. I mean, details. He said, you got to call him back and just see what you just said yes to. I'm like, oh, those details are killer. You know what? I'm just like, big picture, yes. And then you got to think about, who said that to me earlier? They say yes to everything now. Was it you? Yeah. Say yes. Oh, you were saying yes. Yes. You were saying yes to too many things. Somebody last night told me, I decided unless I have a good reason, I just say yes to the unknown. And I end up meeting people and seeing sights and doing things. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So I say yes, I call her back, I say, okay, Laura, what did I just say yes to? She said, oh, we're gonna ride our bikes from Minneapolis to Chicago to raise money for AIDS, and we're gonna sleep in a tent for 6 months. Just so you know, so you can kind of get a full picture of how ridiculous I am, is I didn't own a bike. I had only ridden 4.5 miles, was the longest ride I've ever done in my life. I knew nobody with AIDS, and I had never slept in a tent.
Good
It's like, you are out of your mind. I'm like, let's just do this thing. So this presentation is really about, I call it the Ride of a Lifetime. It's a whole presentation. It's really about, if you're courageous, a lot of times when we think about goals, we think, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? So ultimately, I thought, I want to lose weight. How hard can a bike ride be? Now this is me at the finish line. You may or may not be able to tell by the picture, but I am bawling hysterically. It was one of the most physically, spiritually, emotional, most difficult things I've ever done in my life. And I've done a lot of difficult things. But that's me at the finish line. My sweet, amazing husband, I kissed a lot from before I married my parents. He got up at 1 in the morning, put the 3 kids in the car, and drove to Chicago to meet me at the finish line. And I've kind of ruined being able to complain about my husband recently because every day since December 1st, I have posted, I believe in Santa, do you? And then I tell a story. And now there's all these women all over the world like, your husband is so amazing. He's the I'm like, oh my gosh, who am I going to complain about you to? He's like, oh, you're fine. I'm like, listen, you're not perfect. Everyone thinks I'm so lucky. What about you? He's like, I'm not. But this is me at the finish line. And what I realized in January, I signed up in January of 1999. And I rode the first week of July. They kind of tricked us and said some days were 80 miles. That was a joke. Every day was over 100 miles.
Wow.
The woman that talked me into it quit.
Oh.
What?
Oh, wow.
And there was about 100 other obstacles along the way. what I teach about in this presentation is I say, set a SMART goal. How many of you know what a SMART goal is? What if we change the vowel from an A to a U? Anybody? Set an unattainable goal that makes no sense to anyone, including yourself, and then go do it. Don't quit. It's going to be super hard. Don't quit. People are going to vote against you. Don't quit. It's not going to make sense. Don't quit. They're going to tell you that if you don't raise enough money. In 1999, when people were not giving money to AIDS, you got to give them money. Don't quit. Can you set an unattainable goal and then figure out how to attain it? And what happened after I did that is I decided every single year, most years I should say, every January I set a goal that has no benefit for me or little benefit for me, and I think, how can I do something that will make an impact in the world? So I've done the MS 150, I've done the breast cancer 3-day, I've done the Relay for Life, I've done the suicide walk, I've done mental health walks. I mean, I've done a lot of things, and I love when I'm doing it. I always think, I had a horrific crash on the second day of this, and my bike, it was kind of crazy. But they really wanted me to sweep, which just means they pick up your bike and they pick you up and they bring you to the next pit stop, at least if not to the end, and I couldn't do it. And the reason why is because every night I get to go to bed in my beautiful home with my healthy body, my healthy husband, and my 3 healthy kids, and not everybody gets that. I never want to forget the people that I met along the way through this AIDS ride. It was an amazing experience. It was a hard experience, and that beautiful girl, Laura, that talked me into it to quit, they assigned me a new techmate named Laura. I thought that's a good sign, right? That would be a good sign that I met her. And if you know anything about a woman and body fat, like if we've got 15% body fat, we are ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
are ripped.
Yeah.
This woman was 9% body fat. And the first time I met her, she said, "Do you think we're gonna win?" I was like, I don't think it's a race. Just so you know how funny that is, when I was training for the MS 150, I'm riding up a hill in Eagan, Minnesota, if you know Minnesota, and a man jogged past me. That is a special skill to stay upright and go that slow. You know? And when I got in, because I'm like the first one out, because I'm up early, and like the last one in, and the woman Laura, that I'm sharing a tent with, and she was fine, she just ripped and wanted to win, and good for her. She's asking the guys next to us, "Do you think Annie goes as slow as she can, so I have to set up the tent by myself?" And they're like, "No, Annie goes as fast as she can, and she's super slow." I met an awesome guy from Chicago, which I would have, if I would have had Facebook at the time. He was a dentist, and his legs were literally as long as my body. And he rode to the finish line and rode back out 60 miles. I don't know how he kept his bike upright. Rode back 60 miles to riding with me. Because he just talked about, I guess I should end the story. What I will tell you, I'll tell you a couple things here quick, is yes, I signed up. Yes, she quit. Yes, many people said to us, "I would give you money if it was a cause that people didn't choose." Wow.
Wow.
Right? 1999. I lived in a community of people that I thought would for sure support me. If it was cancer, I'd give you money, but not AIDS. Wow. Right? And that's why she quit, because we were told you have to raise $2,500 minimum, and if you don't, you have to pay it on your own credit card. I didn't own a bike. I had spent $2,500 to buy a bike on a credit card in order to do this ride. I mean, I'm not telling you the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you the cliff notes. And so I had to buy a bike, plus I had to try to fundraise. People would give me $5. I had to raise $2,500. I mean, whatever. But then I ended up having one of my amazing girlfriends said, "Hey, Annie, I'm going to do a wine tasting. We're going to do a blind wine. We're going to charge everyone minimum of $25 at the door." And that night we raised $700. So that helped me. That was after the girl quit, and I was like, "I got to quit." My husband, "Can't quit now. Can't quit now." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "You've raised $500." I'm like, "Yeah, I got a lot to go, right?" And so I just kept riding, and she raised $700. Somebody did a chocolate tasting for me. You could bring anything with chocolate. You had to pay $10 to come in the door. People were running out of ideas. We had chocolate asparagus, chocolate potato chips on it. I mean, you name it. It was weird, but it was good. We raised another $300 or $400 there, and kept raising. And then Laura quit. She said, "I can't do it." And we were like, how do we keep moving forward with this? I trained a lot. I got bee stings a lot. I wanted to quit a lot. People voted against me a lot. But I wanted to lose weight. And sometimes that feels like, is that enough of a reason, right? I just want to lose weight. I'm overweight. I gained 95 pounds with my last son. I weighed 107 when I got pregnant and over 200 when he was delivered. And I'm tall, but, you know, it was like equal. I'm just saying, like at that time, I gained a lot. She's like, "You gotta lose weight, you gotta lose weight." And I was like, "I gotta lose weight, I gotta lose weight, I gotta do this." I just kept training, and it was so hard. I didn't train on how to sleep in a tent. That's hard, especially during a tornado happened during it. You know, just crazy, wiped out. But 2 weeks before the ride, for the first time, I got to meet one of the 8 vendors that would benefit. And I didn't really know anyone with AIDS. Really, by that point, I met a couple of people that were HIV. But we rode 100 miles in the morning, and then we had to climb down into this basement into a bit of a shady neighborhood in Minneapolis. And we made meals that would be delivered to people that were housebound with HIV and AIDS. And so we did that, and I was so tired. Like when you ride 100 miles, your body starts to like literally shut down, you know? So I'm climbing up the stairs, I'm so exhausted. It's 2 weeks out from the ride. But I'm happy, like I get a seed that someone's gonna benefit from the grueling that I've gone through. My husband's like, you got this, you got this. And I climb up the stairs, and I am a proud soccer mama, and I had a hunchback minivan, green minivan, and my bike was on the back, and I get to the top of the stairs, and I look out, and the 2 chains are hanging. And someone has stolen my bike 2 weeks before my ride. And a bike, no matter what size you are, is an intimate relationship. When you are, on a good day, 5'2", there's a lot of adjusting to get it right, to be able to sit on it for over 100 miles a day for 6 days. And I got up and I'm just sobbing. I'm physically exhausted, I'm emotionally exhausted, I'm asking God, I'm a woman of faith, why do you want me to help other people when this stuff happens to me? And I usually don't say why me, I usually say why not me? Because I learned early on lots of things can happen in our lives, right? But in that moment I knew I was not meant to do that ride. I was like, come on, really? And so I was going home and I had a cell phone kind of like I had to plug it in. I had a job at the time, full-time work, and I'm plugging in and I'm calling my husband. I'm sobbing so much you can't understand what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm not doing this, right? This is crazy. What was I doing? He's like, I didn't tell you to do it. You could do it. I'm like, they took my bike, but he didn't know what I was saying. He just thought I was exhausted from the 100 miles and then driving into the city and whatever. And I got home and I had another bike and I'm like, I quit. Don't you just want to quit sometimes? Like you are trying to do something good and everything still bad is happening. Why? Does that happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do you keep going when there's nothing in it for you? And so I get home and I'm so sad and I'm like, you can't quit now. You've raised over $5,000. Our friends, our family, our neighbors have invested in you. You can't quit now. And I'm like, I gotta quit. I don't have a bike. I'm 2 weeks out. I'm exhausted. I can't do it. And one of my dear friends, my best friend died drinking and driving at 22, but her younger brother and I adopted each other. As 6 months later, I lost my brother. And he knew I was sad, so he called me and said, you know what, it was about a week out now, and I called like 3 different bike shops. Will you give me a bike? Will you give me a discount? I think ultimately, like on the 3rd or 4th one, they gave me $200 off. It's still $2,500 for these bikes that ride like this, and I still hadn't paid off my first bike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This was a lot of investment, and I didn't know what I was doing, but sometimes you just can't quit. I wanted to quit. My husband voted for me, but there was more than that. There was the drive and knowing you're created for more, and then you got to do more because you've been given more, right? And so I got my bike. My friend Tommy calls me and he says, Annie, we're getting a cabin up north. I know it's a week out. Bring your bike, bring the kids. Let's just go up north, get away for a couple days. And it was like, 6 days before my ride. So I go up north, I got my bike, which means I gotta get up at 3 in the morning to go ride in the dark up north where I don't know where I am, so I can keep training before this ride. And the first morning when I rode back in, I think I was there for 3 days, maybe 4 days, I rode back in, the owner of the resort was like, came up to me and she's like, are you a bike racer? I said, oh no. She's like, oh, but you like to ride? Oh no. She goes, well, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. I'm like whining. I signed up for this AIDS ride, and it's like this week, and I'm super tired, but I can't stop training now. And she's like, oh, do you know someone with AIDS? And I said, oh no, I don't know anyone with AIDS. So she's like, so you don't like riding a bike, you don't know anyone with AIDS, and you're doing this ride. I'm like, I know, right? Kind of crazy. She's like, no, kind of like amazing. And I was like, okay. And she goes, I just think that's so cool. Like, I don't meet a lot of people that do things like that. And I was like, oh, thank you. And so I did it, I hung out, and Tommy just like cheered me up, and my husband's like cheering me on and whatever. And I'm packing up to leave. And that same woman comes out of the resort, and she's like holding something. And she says, can you do me a favor? And I'm like, of course, happy to do you a favor. And she said, she gets kind of teary. And I'm like, are you okay? And she said, not really. I said, I'm so sorry. What's wrong? She said, oh, my son died. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. She said, yeah, I lied to everyone. I said he died in an accident. People are so judgmental. He died of AIDS. And I met you, so I took this white t-shirt and I put his face on it, and I wondered if you'd wear his face as you ride out of Minneapolis in honor of my son. It would be my pleasure, it would be my honor to wear your sweet boy on my face, on my chest. He was 25 years old. So I had this t-shirt with his picture on. And in that moment I realized, who the heck cares about a scale? It's not about weight loss. We're not here to get to a certain size. We're here to make a difference in someone else's life. God knew that it was never about me losing weight. It wasn't about Laura. It wasn't about even the whole world that suffered from AIDS and HIV, or those people that were ill-educated and thought people chose that disease. It was about that mama. The 2 days before I ride, I would get to wear her son on my chest to honor his life, and that she for once could tell someone, my son died of AIDS. And I'm not embarrassed because I love my son, but I'm not going to have one more person judge me because bearing your son is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wear his face on my chest and honor his life and honor his mother. And in that moment I thought, you will ride every mile. You will smile when you're in pain. And you will keep going because hopefully you will never have to go through what that mom had to go through. Right? And so I did. And you know that sweet husband of mine, the one that everyone's fallen in love with? You know what he said to me at the Minneapolis Convention Center with 3,500 riders, right before I leave, he said, you know what, honey? You don't have to do this if you don't want it. I was like, are you kidding me? I am going to ride every single mile. I am going to go every single moment. I will walk if I can't ride. I will be the first one out and the last one in, but I will finish. I will finish for that mom and for every other mom and sister and brother and father and mother that has had to talk about and suffer with HIV or AIDS or love someone that does, and people didn't honor their life. Because every life matters. And ever since then, I thought, every year I'm going to do something. I don't know why or I don't know how, so I just do it. And then I invite other people to do it. And when I was doing my first MS 150, I invited my audience. That was 10 days before, and 2 women said yes. And they joined my MS team, and they raised over $10,000 before we did the ride 10 days later. I think the way they raised it was they told everyone in the audience, you're not riding, you're sponsoring. You're not riding, you're sponsoring. And then everyone in the audience started giving them money, and I was like, yes. So I get to make this cool impact, and so can we when we realize goals. Yes, you pick something of the 7 in the beginning. Aren't about us. It's about when we take care of ourselves in any of the 7 areas, we help other people. Whether it's people close to us or far away, when we take care of ourselves first, we get to be better so we can take care of other people, right? Right? That's what being courageous is. It's about riding in when you're exhausted, when you don't think you can. I rode alone so many miles. I mean, it was just, oh, I can't believe I did it. But I'm so glad. So glad I met that mom. That I had to have my bike stolen to be invited up north. Well, there's your life map. When we have more time, we go through that. It's a cool thing. We do that. The final thing, this is me in Long Beach, California, at that conference where the woman kissed me, freaked me out a little bit, loved her a lot. And what I learned is, see, growing up, I always wanted to be, you know how you want to be like someone else? I didn't want to just be like someone else. I wanted to be anyone else but me. I didn't want to be me. I didn't want my life. I didn't want my story. I wanted to be like my best friend, the one I told you that drank and drove and drank and died. She had just graduated from college. She was beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. I wanted to look like her so bad. And she was smart. I mean, real smart. She didn't even have to study and she could pass the test. I could study, still couldn't pass the test. And she was athletic. And her family invited me over, middle school, junior high, high school, right until I moved away. And they let me sleep over on weekdays without asking questions. And they always served me dinner. And you know how sometimes girls can be mean in middle school, junior high? And they say, well, if you sleep over at my house, I have to sleep over yours. If you came within 100 feet of my house, I had to yell at you to get back in the car. Or I would be in trouble. So I had to be careful who I was friends with. I used to want to be like her. I mean, she loaned me clothes. She had clothes. I barely had clothes. I was a 4th daughter. Now I know I'm the 5th daughter, but I was a 4th daughter. And I didn't have things she had. I wanted to be her. I wanted her parents. I wanted her life. She died drinking and driving, and God's given me this life to keep being. And what I had to learn is don't stop being, want to be like someone else, like me. And guess what? I'm messy, and not everybody likes me. And I'm weird. Sometimes my hair sticks up, and it's curly, and sometimes it's straight. And sometimes my daughter says, Mother, you got to act like the professional you are. I'm like, I can't. I try. It doesn't work. It doesn't But when you become authentically yourself, then you'll draw in the right people. Loving ourselves as we are, who we are. And in my case, whose we are. You can live fully. You can be messy. You can be beautiful, messy. so tired of a world that tells us we have to fit into some mold that I will never fit in. I don't fit. But now I don't want to. Like I said to you before, we were not created to fit in, we were created to stand out. Because when we stand out and we shine that light in the world, it draws people to us. People want what we have. Like sometimes I'm just always smiling and people are like, what are you up to? I'm like, I have no idea. But it's gonna be fun. I don't even know. But being authentically, and partially what I thought about is like, ask 3 people, like, how do you see me? And if at first, what I like to do is write down 3 to 5 words you describe yourself. I am not patient, but I am fun. And I'm passionate. And I'm loving. And I'm intentional. And then I ask other people, what words do you see? And I write them down. And if they're words that I like, then I dive into them. I'm not saying change because of someone else. I'm saying ask so you have an awareness of how you show up in the world. And make sure that whatever your 5 words are about yourself, be intentional about being those. I want to be funny. I want to be kind. I want to be patient. I want to, whatever it is, you know? And the last thing I want to close with is this. You see, I think in our life we get labels put on us. I told you a little bit earlier, my family put on labels, the schools put on labels, they put them on me, they put them on other people. And so I used to meet people and they'd be like, I'm not that smart, rip it off. I'm not successful, rip it off. But the thing is, if we rip off the labels that have been put on there, either by ourselves or someone else, it leaves us with holes. You can't just rip it off. You have to replace it. You have to take the weakness that someone else told you are, and you have to say, actually, I'm wise. You have to take that worthless and say, actually, I'm worthwhile. You have to take that, I am wounded, and say, I am whole, not perfect, but whole. You see, being the exception is about being who you are, the best version of yourself, not perfect. Because when you let yourself be messy, other people are drawn to that. They don't have to be perfect around you. Does that make sense? I know we didn't get to work through the whole workbook and do all this, and I know we have a couple more minutes here, so I just want to be open, but I wanted to get through a lot of material in a short period of time. This book was written, this workbook, that you ideally dive into it and do these exercises. That you go through it, that you dig into it, that you do it as a small group, that you do it as a company, that you do it as an individual. And you say, Annie, I want to live an exceptional life. I want my past to define my future. I want to show up just a little bit better, a little bit brighter than how I got. And so that is kind of my presentation that I have for you today. I know we went fast. I know I'm kind of all over the place. But I just want to say that I hope you got something out of it. I hope you are taking this personally and professionally and saying, how do I apply these 7 keys? How do I use this? And that you start thinking about your thinking about your self-talk, and you dive into that and you go, I want to show up better and kinder. I want to believe people have the best intention for me, not the worst. I want to believe when people frown or growl toward me, it's more about them than about me. And so at this time, I just want to collect comment cards if you have them. If you just want to fill them out as neatly as possible, bring them to the front. And while you're doing that, I'm going to describe the book. So if I call your name, you can come up and grab whichever book of your choice.